If you pay attention to YouTube right now, there is a lot of content talking about how much seniors are really going to get under the big, beautiful bill, the Social Security increase that has been included in this bill, the tax deduction that seniors are supposed to get, that is supposed to be life changing. And so it begs the question, what is really going on with senior increases that were promised? If you've been paying attention to the news all year, we've been hearing about this amount of money that was supposed to be coming to seniors as part of this massive legislation that was supposed to be life changing for seniors. So a lot of seniors have been waiting, trying to understand, okay, now that the president has signed this bill, what is in this bill for me? How do I benefit in this bill, especially if you're a low income senior? And so there's a lot of news articles coming out of it. And I want to walk you through by starting with the White House, because I think it's important to see what the White House is saying about this. And then let's dig into what experts are looking at this and saying, how can seniors, especially low income seniors, benefit from this bill? So I am going to share this from the White House website, and we're going to start there. So the White House website is saying that no tax on Social Security is a reality in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And they went on and said, under the One Big Beautiful Bill, the vast majority of seniors, note that it does not say all seniors. It says, sorry, I don't think you guys can see this. That's not what I meant to show you. Let's see. I think there's something wrong. So let me try this again. Okay, good. This is what I wanted to show you. I apologize for that. So this is the White House website, and I'm going to go down and show you what it says. It says no tax on Social Security is a reality in the One Big Beautiful Bill. So that's what the White House is saying. And I'm going to read to you and then explain what they are saying and then let you know what experts are saying. So it says under the One Big Beautiful Bill, the vast majority of seniors, it does not say all seniors. 88% of all seniors who receive Social Security will pay no taxes on Social Security benefits, according to the brand new analysis from the Council on Economic Advisors. So then they showed you seniors age 65 and over receiving Social Security income is 58 million. And then seniors with exemptions and deduction exceeding taxable income under current law is 37 million. And then under the OBB is going to be 51.4 million. So it says that a senior who files as a single taxpayer and receives the current average retirement, which is 24,000, will see deductions that exceed their taxable income. Married seniors who both receive 24,000, a total of 48,000, will also see deduction that exceed their taxable income. So the White House is saying that if you're a single person, and let's go down a little further so that you can see what they are claiming. If you're a single person, a new senior deduction of 6,000, your standard deduction is 15,750, and then you stack on your senior deduction, which is 2,000, you have $23,750. And so the amounts to the largest tax benefit in the history for seniors. Promise made, promise kept. Well, so this is the thing. I am not going to parse words about this, but I'm going to show you what the nonpartisan bipartisan tax policy center is saying about this, so that we can look into the specific deduction. Because here's what's happening. A lot of seniors that do not file taxes on their Social Security benefits, that get Social Security but don't pay taxes, are feeling left out of this bill. And when you go to the White House website, it's telling you that you are included in this bill. So where should we draw the line? Are you really, really included in this bill? And I am going to share with you, I am going to go to a website that is the bipartisan policy website, because I am not about policy here. I am about, you know, I am not into politics. I am not trying to push any particular agenda. What I'm trying to share with you is the facts as they stack up so that you can make your own decision for yourself. So I'm going to share their website with you. It's called the bipartisan bipartisan policy center. And so they did a survey and they said the 2025 tax bill, the additional $6,000 for seniors simplified. So I am going to walk you through what they are saying regarding this, okay? So they talked about the tax bill, the fact that it replaces the current tax bill. So let me give you some background. President Trump in 2017 passed a tax bill. It is called the Tax Cut and Job Act. Now, that was supposed to expire this year if nothing was done. And so the big, beautiful bill was passed in order to extend those tax cuts, and then more was added to that. So, what these guys have done is gone through what is in the big, beautiful bill and how it impacts seniors. And I did unpack this in a couple of videos, but I want you to understand that the biggest part of this is this table that these guys have right here. You compare that to the White House table, and it's completely different. And so I am going to present you the facts, and then you make the decision on what you do with it. So according to the White House, they're saying that if you make 24,000, you are included in this bill. But what these guys are saying, and again, is the bipartisan tax center, is that if you make $24,000 or less, you don't get any benefit out of this bill. You can see that it says zero. Now, I am not saying that the White House is misleading anybody. I am just saying that the two are coming to different conclusions. And so the IRS came out today, a few days ago, and released information around who is eligible. And so now I'm going to go to the IRS website and then share with you what they are saying regarding this. So this is the IRS. They came out with the one big beautiful bill and how it's supposed to affect seniors. So let's talk about it. So what is the IRS saying? Well, the IRS is saying that seniors are going to benefit in three different areas. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on car interest loan, and then the deduction. Actually, four different categories. But why is the IRS important in all of this discussion? Because essentially, they are the ones that are going to set the rules around what the bill allows you to do. So, what is the IRS saying when it comes to this matter? Because I want to focus on seniors that are in the low income category that are feeling left out of all of this and are seeing no specific relief. So, I want to make sure that I explain that and that we get an understanding of what does the IRS say about all of this. So let me read some of their statement to you. So the IRS is saying that when it comes to no tax on tips, it means that you're a senior citizen, you're working, and you're getting tips as part of your income. What they are saying is that you can deduct the first 25,000 of credit card tip or cash tips. But your employer have to report those tips to the IRS and also to you. And so you have to have documentation in order to claim this. Now, this tax on tips does not last forever. And people on self-employment can also claim it. But if you're on self-employment and you're getting tips, your tips that you get, the maximum amount of tips you're deducting cannot be more than your net income. So the news here is that people on self-employment can also get this deduction, but the IRS is saying that it does not last forever. But here's the thing. You cannot go and decide what job is eligible. The IRS on October the 2nd, a few months away, is then going to release jobs that fall under this tip policy. So we're not done. You can't just take this money now, the IRS is going to release a list of jobs that are eligible for this no tax on tips. So stay tuned. We're going to pay attention to what's happening there, and then we're going to bring you more when the IRS releases that list. So that is what they are saying on the no tax on tips. Let me see if there's anything there. They're saying that qualified tips are voluntary cash or charge tips received from customers or through tip sharing, and they are saying that it has to be reported on your W-2. You have to include your social security when you file taxes and try to claim this. So that is the first thing in the IRS release. Then they did talk about no tax on overtime. And here they're saying that the first $12,500 is eligible if you are single and $25,000 if you're filing jointly, but the deduction begins to phase out over income of $150,000 or more and $300,000 if you're filing jointly. And again, this only is available over a 3-year period. And then the IRS goes on to say that no tax on car loans. It's a new thing. It has to be for an American assembled car. You can deduct up to $10,000. And to qualify for the deduction, the interest must be paid on the loan that is originated after December 31st, 2024. It was used to purchase a vehicle, the original use of which starts with the taxpayer. So used vehicles do not qualify. It's for personal use. So you cannot use it for your business and claim it, and it's secured by a lien on the vehicle. So when you lease a car, it does not qualify for this exemption. I want to make that clear. There has to be a lien on the vehicle. So if you're leasing, you don't get to claim this tax deduction. And then the IRS website goes on to talk about the senior tax deduction. And it is saying that effective for 2025 to 2028, individuals age 65 and older may claim additional deduction of $6,000. This deduction is in addition to the current standard deduction for seniors under existing law. To qualify, you have to be age 65 and older, and you have to the deduction is available for both itemizing and non-itemizing people. So the real news here is that if you don't pay taxes on your social security, it doesn't matter what the White House is saying. It doesn't matter what the Bipartisan Policy Center is saying. If you don't pay taxes on your social security, there is no benefit in this bill for you. That is one thing we have to make clear. Now, the second news I want to talk to you about is inflation. And the government recently did a study about seniors, and I want to walk you through this before we get into inflation, because Fortune magazine did a study. Actually, was citing a poll about the big beautiful bill and how people are responding to it. So let's look at that for a second. So the title, it says 6 in 10 Americans say Trump's big beautiful bill will help the rich and help the poor. So my question to you is, do you believe this? Do you think that the big beautiful bill is skewed towards the rich? Is that your experience? Is that what you think? I want to hear from you in the comment section, because this is a big number. It says 6 in 10. That is 60%. About 2/3 of US adults expect that new tax law will help the rich, according to a poll from the Associated Press and the Center for Public Policy Research. Most, 6 in 10, think it will do more to hurt them and then help low-income people. About half say it would do more harm than good to the middle class and people like them. I mean, that's a huge number. I mean, I'm actually surprised. But, the problem is that if you look at the national poverty level, a single person making $14,580 is living in poverty. a family of four making 30,000 is living in poverty. So if you're a single person and you're making $14,000, according to the White House own website, the average Social Security benefit, the average senior is getting about $24,000. And so you're barely above, you know, as a couple above poverty. And so $14,000 is poverty. Then a lot of seniors are in poverty because some seniors are getting $1,000 a month in Social Security benefits. So it's understandable when you look at that poll why people feel the way they feel, because they feel like the deck is probably stacked against them and they are not seeing any relief, even though such a big bill has been passed that promises a lot of money. So I want to read some of your comments that you guys have provided in videos that I have posted, talking about how you feel about how things are going right now. And I want to highlight a few of them to you so that we can talk about it. This person says that I am retired, collecting Social Security and file taxes jointly with my husband, whom is also retired and collecting Social Security. We make together 46,000 yearly. Am I correct that we will not benefit from the big beautiful bill? Well, I can answer your question directly by showing you on the screen how this is going to impact you. So let me pull my information and then we'll talk about it. So let's look at how this is going to impact you and specifically what it looks like for you. So here we go. If you look at this table, you know, you say you are making 46,212 as filing jointly. Well, if you look at this table, it says that $48,000 if you are a couple, you get zero. So look at the column that says household, and then look at Alex and Anna filing as a couple. They make $48,000, and that's adjusted gross income, and they're getting zero. So unfortunately for you, making 46,000 combined yearly, the big beautiful bill does not save you any money, and you don't get anything out of it. Um, you have to make, based on this table from the Bipartisan Policy Center, you have to be in the 72,000 category as a couple where Blake and Beer are, to be able to get money, to be able to deduct the 6,000. So if you make 72,000, then you get the entire 6,000 as a couple, so you get 12,000. So as 48,000, you are essentially getting zero. And unfortunately, that's what it is. I'm sorry, but that is the fact. And that's what I'm trying to talk about earlier, is that for a lot of people who feel left behind, is because they don't make enough money to take advantage of these tax breaks. Because essentially, think about it, as a senior citizen, if you're making 72,000, you can stack up three different tax breaks. You stack up the standard deduction, and I'm going to bring up another table that is going to show you how these things stack up, so that you can see that if you make a lot of income, there is a lot to be happy about here. But if you don't, then it's like you are in a different category, and it's hard to get the benefit that you need from this. So let me see here. No, that's not what I wanted to do, but I'll find it and I'll share it in a minute. But the point is that you can stack up these taxes, and you can get a lot of benefits if you make the right amount of income, because you have the standard deduction, which is about 15,750, and then you have a senior bonus deduction of 2,000, and then you have the big beautiful bill, which is 6,000. So as a senior, and you can stack up three different taxes if you make the right amount of money. Otherwise, you get zero. Let me look into the comments here. I get $773 a month. Yeah, so you're below that. I am far from being rich, and I got a raise because I don't even get 17. I know $1,700 a month. A lot of seniors are in your situation where they don't make enough money to be able to take advantage of this gigantic tax breaks. Look at this chart. Somebody making um 72,000 will get $12,000, and it's not a lot of money to begin with, right? But they get to benefit from it, and a lot of seniors do not. Let me go back to the comments and see what else I can pull up, because there's a lot of comments that I've pulled up from what you guys have been sharing in my videos, and I wanted to highlight so that you guys know that I'm reading your comments and I'm happy to respond to them. I am on Social Security. Um, this but I'm only 50 but blind. Do I get something? Well, it depends on your income. So if I know your income situation, I'll be able to respond to that. But let's look at another comment. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let's look at another comment. I mean, I have downloaded about 50 of those comments, so I'm going to try and share as many as I can with you. So here we go with another one. So this person is saying there's a way to get rid of waste and fraud and abuse. It's called audit. Slashing a budget doesn't do that. All it does is less for you or eventually nothing for you. It isn't about illegals. Many audits and studies say it's about 0.4%. Your dear leader, my dear leader, your dear leader is just getting more money for his peers' project by slashing Medicare and Medicaid. So, as I mentioned, man, look, I'm not here to take sides. I am not trying to promote politics here, but I hear the frustration in a lot of these posts that I put in my comments, because seniors in the low income category are frustrated that they are not being taken care of. I have shared stories about people on disability that feel like they are always left behind, that all these bills that are passed and all these tax breaks that are given to all these other people on disability never get a break. So I think a lot of what you're hearing is frustrations from seniors about the fact that they are not being included in some of these bills that is supposed to provide relief um, to everybody. Is there anything for those of us who are way below poverty and only get 14,460 a year? This is from Karen Van Horn. So here's the thing, Karen. So when it comes to the tax break, when it comes to the specific tax break, if you look at this table, um, because you make less than $24,000, you probably don't pay taxes on your Social Security benefit. And so, if you don't pay taxes on your Social Security benefit, you don't have taxable income. And so, if you don't have taxable income, unfortunately, you cannot take advantage of tax deductions. What they could have done to help people like you is to give you straight stimulus. To give you a straight stimulus, um, because that would then be money in form of Social Security increase. So I'm not saying like write a check for everybody. It's just like give Social Security beneficiaries, especially those receiving the minimum benefit or low benefit, an increase. And there are bills out there in Congress that can help. There are two bills I can talk about right now. There is the Social Security Expansion Act, which has been one of those bills that politicians would dangle in front of voters every 4 years or every 2 years and then don't do anything about it. But the Social Security Expansion Act will give you a $2,400 increase right away. So you will go from, 14,000 to at least 16,000 or even close to $17,000 in Social Security benefits. That's the first thing that they could do. But then there's even a better bill that could help people like you, and it's called the Social Security 2100 Act. This bill, if it's passed, and I think it should, it will raise your Social Security benefits from where you are right now and put you at 125% of the federal poverty level. So when the government comes out and releases their federal poverty level number, you will always be 125,000, 125% of that. So it means that in today's dollars, you would have been getting about almost $19,000 in Social Security benefits. Now, it's not mind blowing money, but at least it's incrementally better than what you're getting right now. So those two bills, Social Security Expansion Act, Social Security 2100 Act, which actually bills that have bipartisan support in Congress right now, would have tremendously helped provide you relief that you are looking for. So it's a long answer to your question, but I'm saying in the current form, in this current tax bill, as I showed in that graph, you don't get anything because of the money you get from Social Security because it's not high enough. But it doesn't mean that there is nothing they can do. There's actually a lot they can do to help people like you. So I'm gonna go into the comments and see. This bill is for the rich. It will not help the poor. I only get $501 a month. Rodolfo, can you share a little bit about that because that's pretty low. Some of us already get over poverty level. Um, so I mean, the point is that a lot of seniors are getting low Social Security benefits and are looking for help and relief. And in fact, there are a lot of things that are in this bill that are happening that I think are going to make the situation worse because of the changes that are happening with food stamps, happening with Medicaid, are happening with energy assistance, are happening with work requirements that are going to put pressure on a lot of seniors who already don't get enough money to begin with to have to do a lot more in order to get the little assistance that they are currently getting. So if you're getting food stamps, expect that you're going to be asked to justify more frequently why you should continue to get benefits. If you're getting Medicaid, same thing. You're going to be tied up in a lot of paperwork. And that's how they're doing things right now. So what I'm saying is that not only are they not helping you, they are now about to make your life more difficult because they are going to tie you up in a lot of paperwork. And if you are on Section 8 housing, I think now you can only be in it for 2 years. So there's so many rules that are changing that are supposed to kick a lot of seniors off government assistance programs that are helping them barely make a living. So that's what's happening. Let's see here. Of course, it's for the rich. It ain't helping me. I'm a veteran. And this is Gilbert Segoviano. I hope I said that right. Of course, it's for the rich. It ain't helping me. I'm a veteran. I fought for this country. I have $1,200 a month. That is big, beautiful bill. Won't help me for nothing. I voted for Trump. Well, I mean, you are right about the fact that if you're making $1,200 a month in Social Security, which is about you're about what 14,000. So yes, you are right that this bill does nothing for you, but as I mentioned earlier, we should not let them get off the hook. And when I'm who are they? I mean politicians, Congress, the House and the Senate, both parties. Let's not let them off the hook that they've passed this bill because they're going to come here. They're going to come back after passing this gigantic bill and say there's no money, that now we should focus on reducing the debt, reducing the deficit. And they've blown the debt and the deficit with what they just did. And so when they come and they're singing that song, you need to call them out on it and say, hey, Before you focus on the debt and the deficit, why don't you help low income seniors that were not included in this bill or that were excluded from this bill? I think it's a fair thing to ask, because they're going to come back and pretend like they didn't just give away all this money to the rich, right? Um, and so, or to high income people. Let me put it that way. So don't let them do that, because then they're going to justify cutting more of the services that people in the low income category depend on, because they're going to say, oh, we have to balance the budget, we have to spending is out of control, they are the ones that are spending it out of control. They just did. So anyway, I am 72. This is up clips. I'm 72 years old. I get 973 a month. Veteran, moved to third world country. Can't live in my country on social security. I hear that a lot. And it's unfortunate. That a lot of seniors feel they have to move out of the country that they've worked and paid so much into and contributed so much into to do that. But then if you move, there's no Medicaid or Medicare SNAP. Yeah, had stroke 2 years ago, paralyzed on my right side. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you get, you recover fully, hopefully, and that you are able to enjoy your retirement wherever you are. I'm still trying to understand that part of the cut. This is Donna McClayton. Yeah, so I'm asking, is hard cuts in this bill for who? Yes, there is hard cuts in the bill. They actually limited how long you can stay. You can get housing assistance, I think, to 2 years. So yes, there is hard cuts in the bill. You can contact the White House and either leave a message or speak to someone. Don't stay silent. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Look, if we don't make noise, if we don't make our voices heard, they're gonna continue to do things that leave you behind. And if you've paid taxes, you've worked, and you are expecting relief from your government, and the help is not covering everybody, then you should make your voices known, because it's just it's a matter of fairness that they don't dangle these things in front of all of us, these shiny objects, and then turn around and leave 50% of seniors out of it. So I agree with you. Um, Let me pull in a few comments, and by the way, if you like what you're hearing, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate your support, and I'm glad that you're hanging out with me this Friday evening. I'm on the East Coast, and it's 8:54 here. 8:54 here, so I don't know where you are, but I'm glad you're here. But I'm gonna review a few of the comments that I have gathered, and then I will share them with you. And then let's talk about it. So let me see if I can pull this one. How much will I get from Social Security? I do file taxes with my 1099. Please let me know if I'll get a raise. I only get 183 a month. I hope when you say $183, you're not talking about Social Security. You're probably talking about maybe SNAP benefits. So I am going to assume that SNAP benefits, which essentially probably puts you in the low income category. So I'm going to say, you are similar to a lot of people I've been talking to tonight, that there's probably no relief for you in that bill directly. And that's just straight up the fact. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, And as I've mentioned, I think they could do more. I think we went through this. So let me remove that and then find another one for us to go through. So if you have any questions right now, let me know in the comment section. I will be happy to answer them for you. Let's see here. No, I think I'm repeating some of these things because I will do a better job tomorrow and number them so that when I'm pulling them on the screen, I know what number I've already shown you and I'm not repeating. All right. The 2.7 increase will not be close to the increase in Medicare Part B, which is 11.6%. You are spot on. And this is one of the biggest problems with all of this that's happening, because what's going on is that on one hand the government is saying that inflation has come down, and so they're going to give you a tiny social security increase, right? Actually, talking about social security increase, there is some news that I can share with you to make the point even clearer, because recently there is some news about social security increase and the fact that your COLA increase is going to be a whopping 2.7% next year. That is the estimate for social security cost of living adjustment for next year. This is pathetic. Because as you just heard from this person, the 2.7% increase will not be close to the 11% increase. So that's what he's referring to, because I did a video talking about this. I mean, this is what they're expecting to give you next year. This year they gave you 2.5%. Next year is going to be 2.7%. That doesn't even begin to cut it, because that's like what, $20 to $40. Meanwhile, they then turn around and increase Medicare Part B premium by a larger amount. So the same government that is telling you that inflation is coming down, and so we're going to give you a tiny social security increase, is the same government that is telling you, well, but we're going to increase your Medicare premium by a higher amount because Medicare premiums and healthcare inflation is higher. So can you see the gap and the problem with that statement? And so one of the things that has been proposed in Congress is to change how Social Security cost of living is calculated, because a 2.7% increase when you have inflation that is going up. Actually, we have news on the inflation front, which just came out recently, because the government came out and told everybody a few days ago that inflation is growing again, and prices of goods and services continue to go up. This is just a few days ago. You look on that list and everything is going up. There are very few things that are going down, and the things that are going down are things that have gone up dramatically the last few years. And so it makes sense that they are coming down slightly. But the big increases are happening with other things. And if you look at that list, majority of prices are going up. So the same government that's telling you that they are projecting a 2.7% increase in cost of living adjustment is now telling you that inflation is going up. So then what is it? So they need to change how they calculate your social security cost of living adjustment, so that it will show realistically the cost that seniors are facing. So I'm going through the comments. Watching from California, thanks for researching this topic and letting us know. Kathleen, thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. What can be done by the private sector to help seniors? Good question. What can be done by the private sector to help seniors? That is Rosie77. I think that, actually, let me write that down, because we are trying to compile a list of help that is available to seniors by state, and we're going to put it on our website. But what can be done by private sector to help seniors? So here's what I would tell you, just based on just off of my, Donna, watching from North Carolina. Thank you for watching. Here's what I would say, and this is to your question about private sector. I think there are a lot that the private sector can do, and I think number one, it starts with supporting local senior centers. Okay, a lot of communities have senior centers, and they are very understaffed and under-resourced. And so if you are a local business or a local company and you want to really help seniors, pour some money into the local senior center. Maybe you are the person that, maybe on a quarterly basis buys some quality food for distribution to seniors at the senior center, or you are the person that is providing a mobile um, dental clinic that comes into the senior center. And because I'm looking at services that seniors are struggling and are making hard decisions about, and I think that part of it is like making a decision about paying for food or paying for prescription drugs, paying for food or going to a dental visit or etc. So like being able to offer quality services. We're not talking like bring low quality services just to throw something in, we're talking about bring a nice mobile van with that provides dental care to seniors in a very, nice environment that makes them feel recognized and in a dignified way. So that's the first thing I would do. Second, a lot of the cuts that are happening to SNAP benefits are going to hit seniors because they're being asked to work till age 64 in order to continue to get food stamps. So if you cannot work, then you don't get the benefit. Well, I'm going to mention food banks, but in a different way. I think that food banks can be resourced with also food, higher quality food. And that's where the private sector can come in, where, sometimes a lot of seniors don't go to food banks because they feel like the food quality there is setting them back in their health. So if you're health conscious and you just don't want to eat canned foods all the time, then that becomes problematic. And I feel like the private sector can get involved in providing a little more quality food to support their local food banks. Number three, make it easy for seniors to be hired. The idea that some seniors want to work, but they feel a lot of barriers in getting employment. And I think that that is where the private sector could, the same thing they do for veterans, where they have pay specific attention to veterans. I think they should do the same for seniors in general and say that, hey, we are going to make it easy for you to be able to get a job if you want to continue to work, even part time, and make some money to supplement your social security. Um, so those are the things that come to my mind just thinking about it. Um, but I feel like it's about quality and not making people feel like they're just getting hand me downs. But it's like, hey, if you genuinely care as a private company and you want to support seniors, show it in the quality of the help that you provide to seniors in your local area. Support your local senior center. Support your local food bank with quality products. That's my answer. Um, what surprises me is that people let all these things happen. They let the politicians decide for us, or worse, there hasn't been anything good yet. No, that's true. Well, I think it's just problematic of the system where um I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole and I don't want to get into the politics of it, but I agree with your general sentiment that, you know, a system that caters to a certain population when I mean this bill, if you look at the bill, the details of the big beautiful bill, there's no question that it benefits people in the high if you have higher income, if you're a business person, if you're a business owner, if you make middle class, upper middle class income, there's a lot in this bill for you to like because you get tremendous tax breaks. If you're a low income person, you get social security is your only income and you make less than 24,000. That's a lot not to like in this bill because it doesn't do anything for you. And in fact takes a lot away from you that you depend on in order to finance this giant help to people probably that don't even need it. And so I think to that extent, we should hold our politicians accountable from both parties when they come and do those town hall meetings and they tell you all these things. Let them give you specific bills that they are supporting that can change your life. You know, let them give you some bill names. I just gave you two of them: the Social Security Expansion Act, Social Security 2100 Act. Why don't they go support those bills that can make meaningful change in your life? So that is how I feel about it. um, yeah, you're welcome, Rosie. Let's see here. Medicare will take the COLA. I have United Healthcare with a premium as well. Yeah, that's true, and that is why seniors are going to be continue to fall behind, because cost of living adjustment does not mean anything anymore. Because the moment the COLA comes in, that $30-$40 increase in your social security check, it's going to be immediately taken by the um the Medicare Part B premium. And then and sometimes it even sets you back. Like you get less social security check when once they take out that Medicare Part B premium. You feel like you never even went forward, you went back. So that's what's happening. So if you have any questions specific that you want me to answer, you can put it in the comment section below. I'll be happy to review them, and then tomorrow I'm going to do a better job of numbering all the comments, so that when I'm showing them on the screen, I know what I've shared already. And so it's going to be a much better experience. So I apologize for um, that mess in the middle. But I am committed to researching and coming back with better answers to your questions. Our food bank offers free self select produce. That's awesome, Kathleen. That's great. And I think that's what more food banks should do, because I think the idea that you're going to go to food bank and just get canned food, yes, if you're desperate and you need the food, you have to eat, that's good. But a lot of seniors also need, on specific medications or have health concerns. And so if that's your only option, it sets you back. And that's why I mentioned that if the private sector wants to help, that is a place. So I'm glad to hear that your food bank offers free self-select produce. Uh, I drive to I drive food to seniors' home who don't have cars twice a month from a food bank. Awesome, Peggy Rose. That's amazing. That's really, really, really amazing. And thank you. I know that in those moments when you are doing that, nobody's probably, you know, cheering you on, but please, please, thank you. That is great, because, you know, a lot of seniors are not mobile, sometimes because of health issues, but also sometimes because they cannot afford transportation. I was looking at somebody sharing their budget recently, and they were getting $1,400 in Social Security benefits. And if you look at what they have to the cost that they have to face with that $1,400, my mind was blown, because out of the gate, rent was $800. So if you're getting $1,400 and rent is $800, now you don't have a lot of options left. Like, what can you buy? you know because now you have to make hard choices. You definitely cannot afford a car. So, because I mean, even a car note, if we're being generous, $300-$400 in today's environment with interest rates, at least you're paying $300-$400. So then the money's gone. You haven't done anything about car insurance, electricity, gas, food, prescription drugs, co-pays, deductibles. I mean, the whole gamut. So, thank you for doing that. At least in Philadelphia, they treat the elderly with respect. That's good. That's good to hear. And yeah, so if you have any specific questions, guys, post it in the comments. I am very grateful to have shared this evening with you guys, and I will do my research and make sure that I bring you some answers about some of the things that we talked about today. Thank you for spending Friday night with me here, and I will be seeing you all tomorrow on another live. Thank you, and God bless.